Hello YouTubers out there, this is the Boob Wasteland Show. Today I'm briefly going to talk about a little slip-up that happened this week on Dancing with the Stars. Now, to be fair, I don't actually see this show, so I can't really criticize the show itself. I never watched it, but I've seen excerpts of it. They showed either on Entertainment Tonight or The View, Inside Edition, etc. And of course, The Soup, which is a show I do watch. Nonetheless, this week, one of the contestants, Nancy Grace, whom you all know, the tough-talking former attorney, former lawyer, I don't know which. I know she has a couple of shows, Swift Justice, and her Nancy Grace talk show. Apparently, she was dancing with her partner, and there was a little boob slip-up, to say the least. This was covered up and by showing shots of an audience that looked like they were zombies, or an audience you would find maybe in one of those ballroom scenes from The Shining. And turns out, I guess at first they said that her nipple had showed, or it slipped off her dress, or something of that nature. But the truth is, it was her pasty. One of those pasties. Now, I'm really getting sick and tired of this kind of nonsense. Not the fact that something like this happens, what they affectionately call a wardrobe malfunction, and not because it seemed to all really start with Janet Jackson and the Nipplegate incident at the Super Bowl, if you remember from a few years back, and who doesn't remember that. But the fact is, the problem of seeing a nipple on television, and this really bothers me, because who really cares? This country, I've always said, needs to progress its attitudes. And the reason is simple. We don't allow sex on television. It's either implied or not really shown. We can't see nudity, we can't see an erection, we can't see a nipple, but we can see tons of violence. I'm not going to even begin to tell you just how many shows there are on crime. Forensic shows, reality forensic shows, fictional forensic shows. I mean, there's a whole bunch. There's a real glut of this sort of stuff. CSI Vegas, a few years back, 7, 8 years ago, had an episode where they clearly showed, for a split second, a severed breast. Of course, it was blood-stained. So apparently this is okay, but Nancy Grace showing her pasty, not even her actual nipple, is a problem. And so, really, all I want to say on this show, since it relates to television, because television, we can't see these things unless it's HBO or Showtime or anything other than most of the major networks. My point is, why is sex such a problem? Why is sex demonized? Why is it that we can't see anything from our bodies? Of our bodies. Why can't we see anything? Why? Why is this a problem? My wife brought up a good point several times. She said, the last thing I would want is to ever see a dead body. Hopefully kids, and I guess kids being the audience that we're the most concerned about when it comes to television, should never, hopefully, have to see a dead body. But see a woman's breast, they will eventually. At some point, your kids will. Whether they're gay or straight, it doesn't matter. They're going to see a breast at some point. Why is this a problem? And why does it need to be covered up? And I don't know the real reason to this, except that we're kind of backwards in our thinking in regards to certain things. Sex is something, it's like a right. We're entitled to it. It's procreation, it's everything. It's part of us. We're not entitled to kill people. We're not supposed to. It's a sin. It's not a sin to have sex. Whether you have sex out of marriage or not, it's not even the issue. Sex itself is an act that everyone is entitled to. Seeing a nipple, it shouldn't be a problem. And it's interesting that even on E, there's a whole bunch of which had at one time that show by, goodness, was that Dr. 90210. And if you've ever seen that show, or just a clip of it, you'll see that when they show female bodies, you'll see actually their breasts, but they blur out the nipples. I don't understand the fascination, with this, as far as not showing it. To censor it is despicable to me. Now, I know what some of you might say, well, Dancing with the Stars is on at 8 o'clock or 9, whatever it is. It's a 2-hour show, or a 1 hour, I don't know. Anyway, it's on at a time that kids are awake. Yes, that's true. But it's not going to damage them. It won't damage their sensibilities. And it will, they'll ask questions. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's your main concern, kids seeing a breast, God forbid a penis, then they will ask questions about it. And as they should. They very much should. So, look, those are my 2 cents. I just think it's ridiculous that this is a problem, and especially when it was only a pasty. Anyway, that's all I got to say for now. Long live Nancy Grace with her nipples. And this is the Boob Wasteland Show, signing off.